But going back to that tweet, you never want to be a woman's first good man. You're going to be a lesson. What's you guys' take on that?
Are we just gonna all sit here?
I love how we all look at you first, like Larry come in. I know it is a lot of relationship complexity, so this is a rabbit hole tweet right here. So you lead the way, Larry.
Well, it's interesting. So what is he really saying when he says that? Right, you're going to be the lesson, and so what do you guys think he really means by that? You guys saw the clip, right?
Yeah.
Clip. Yeah. So what do you guys think he's actually saying?
It's all context, like Elena would say. It's all context. What's the root of it? What's the root of it?
Absolutely right.
To me, I think it carries a place of hurt from Lil Duval, maybe protection, could be cynical, probably the misogynistic tone.
It wasn't Lil Duval. It was not Lil Duval was the other clip. This was
I think it was Lil Duval tweet.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was a Lil Duval tweet. But I think it carries maybe a misogynistic tone because it implies that women are not capable of having mature relationships.
Women are very capable of having mature relationships.
And like I said, this is a very complex tweet that deals with the dynamic of relationships. And it highlights less experienced women, but it also could be flipped as, hey, a woman may never want to be a man's first good woman because she'll be the lesson. But let's stick with
But what's the lesson? That's the point I'm trying to get to. So, like, before I answer the question, I want to hear you guys, your thoughts on what the lesson is. Is it heartbreak or what's the lesson?
I think the lesson in the end is maturity. Maturity. If we really think about it, who we are right now as men and who women are now as women, but think about when we were that age, who was really ready for a relationship. I look at the man I am now and who I was back then, and I'm ashamed of the things I've done. I was absolutely, I have no problem saying womanizer, and I was actually taught to do that. I was taught to have you sleep with a lot of women and everything, and I did it well.
Uncles encourage.
But it's horrible because I dogged plenty of women too. I absolutely dogged out tons of women, and I thought that's what you were supposed to do. Now, as a grown man, as a father, not saying I wanted some dude dogging my daughter. But again, like Nate always references that I reference, you have to look at it in context. Who I was when I was 16, 17, 18. Now, even when I turned 30s into my 40s, I was a completely different man. And I was worn out pretty much. By the time I was 23, 24, completely worn out. Completely worn out. So I was happy I matured, and I was just like, I'm now ready to have an established, ready relationship. But I know cats who are even my age now who still aren't ready to do that, but I don't know how they could do it.
Yeah, I think the tweet. This is a treat. But, when you think about the tweet, I think it's irresponsible because it lacks accountability on the man's side of things. We talked last time about God ordained man had a house. So if you're putting this on women that you're going to be their first lesson, well, as God ordained relationships, we're supposed to pour into our women. So how is that her fault if you the lesson? And where I come from, a lot of men is players from the Himalayas. So what we really talking about? Like most women mature faster. They're ready for those things. Yeah. They play house when they're kids. They can't wait to walk down the aisle and put on that white dress and be somebody's spouse. We're the ones running traditionally and generally speaking. We got to have the house, the job. We got to be able to provide before we even think about walking down the aisle and being in a relationship. We got to have all the worldly things in place before we feel like we are equipped enough and ready to even have a real monogamous relationship. So to say women don't be their first lesson or don't be their first love or whatever how he framed it. From where I come from, you didn't want to be our first girlfriends. But there's a flip side of that. I know a lot of relationships that their first person they dated, they were done. They were good. They didn't need to go chase skirts and go to the clubs. They've been together since high school, junior high. And so what's the lesson? You said that's a great question, Larry. What's he really talking about as we unwrap this? What's he really saying? That can go so many different ways, but I don't agree with that tweet because it's all the journey of who you meet and when you meet them and where you are in your place, in your space when you meet them. Orlando's right. The person we would date at 16 may not be the same person we date at 35 or 45 or death do us part. You meet someone later in senior in life. So that's that's a very general tweet that I think is irresponsible. I think anyone at that age, you're going to be each other's lesson.
Yeah.
You're going to learn together, and you're going to learn what you like and what you don't like.
Yeah. Right.
And seeing and being where you are in that time and place. So, we got to go deeper than just that general stuff he put out there.
Yeah. I don't know if what he says is irresponsible as you put it, but I do think that there is coming from a place of pain and hurt on his part. I think he's experienced some heartbreak. And that's probably what he meant by that. He's not here, so there's no way to really verify that. Right. But the way I interpreted it was that he, the lesson was heartbreak. And, when you put all your love into someone and it doesn't work out, unfortunately that equals heartbreak. And that can be a painful experience, especially your first time. So that's how I looked at it, but who knows what he really meant.
I'm curious how many hearts he broke.
And I think there's a part.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's accountability on both sides. I'd like to hear his story and why he framed that up that way. Because again, who has he hurt? Who has he been in a relationship that he wasn't fully vested, but they were invested in him? And so it's not. I don't think it was accountability on both sides. First is first, but not everyone's filling you out the gate.